Okay, folks, so I'm trying to do a demo for you for the still life that is due this week. Some of you have already kind of jumped the gun on it, and that's okay as long as you have what you need for this exercise. And some of the things that I want you to be looking for is, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Okay, I've got this on my fancy little iPhone holder arm, so I'm like looking in all the wrong places. So anyway, I have posted a link to remind you about the rule of thirds, which is about composition, and you're just gonna have to like disregard my messy room because this is my studio room, and obviously we moved in December, and this is my makeshift desk work area that hasn't been 100% unpacked or put away. So my lamp is downstairs, but I don't want to wake anyone up in order to run down and grab it to use it. So today we are going to use natural light in case you don't have a small lamp to use to shine a light on. So one of your criteria was to pick at least 3 items. So I have thrown together on my little box here, I covered it up with one of my daughter's blankets, so it's a more attractive box. And I have a book, a candle, which I don't think you can see. Yep, candle, and a hairbrush, and my salt lamp, and my cords from when I graduated undergrad from my honors fraternity. So one of the things that you'll notice with the natural lighting is the lighting's going to change a smidge because it's outside and the clouds change, but you can see the shadow below each thing. You can see that I've kind of overlapped my stuff, so that way I'm going to be able to show you heavier line representation and things like that. You don't have to do it my way. We all have different ways that we try to map things out, but what I would like to have you try and do is I would like you to draw what we call general to specific. And that is simply mapping out where locations of things are, the rough size of things, and their shape, you know, break things down into basic shapes, and then, you know, focus on mapping out where the shadows lie as well. And then you can start into the detail. So I'm gonna do a very quick version of that very, very quickly so you can see how I handle it. And then I'm gonna go in and start throwing in some shadows. So this is your last still life for the year. And so I want you to really take your time with it and not just like hurry through things. This is why I made this assignment for this week, because I didn't want to overwhelm you, because I really did want you to put as much as time as you could into it. If you have submitted it to me already, and after this video and looking at the criteria, you've decided that you'd like to fix it up, you are always welcome, just like in school, in actual school and class, to resubmit the things. I have placed myself on the floor so that I could be a little bit more level with the stuff. Forewarning, you might see a cat wander in and out, or 2. That might happen, so don't be surprised if it does. Okay, so let me reposition myself to where I want to be seated. I've got one of my mini sketchbooks here with me today. Let me see if I can reposition the camera a little better so that you can kind of see me draw. You know, this is all, all a learning experience. Okay, so to my right, which you probably can't see, and that's okay. Well, maybe, yes, you can. Okay, to my right, I have my array of pencils. I've ordered them in the way that they should be ordered, which is hardest lead to softest lead. We talked that H means hard. Well, it's an easy way to remember H means hard. That means that you're going to get really thin, light lines. It's not going to smear very easily. And the bigger the number, the harder the lead. B is softer, so that's when you can, if you like to smudge and smear, the bigger the number for those, the easier it's going to be to smear, the darker the graphite, and so on. And then I've got, if I need it, but I'm not a big eraser advocate for still lives, because I believe that you can use every line that you have, provided you draw lightly. So this is one of my favorite erasers though. Obviously use what you have, but if you are an artsy kid and you would like to get more into art supplies, I highly recommend this Art Gum eraser by Sanford. I much prefer it to the normal white erasers, just because it, I don't know, it just erases better, in my opinion, just with graphite and with like charcoal. So I have one in my charcoal box too. I've got several boxes. I've got like a paint box, a jewelry box, or metals box, two different paint boxes, because nope, three different paint boxes. So I have acrylic, wash, and oil. Anyway, so back to what we were supposed to be doing. I digress. I have my HB pencil. I'm actually going to start off with, my H, just a regular H. I don't keep dropping my pencils. And I'm going to look at the angle in which the box is to me, and I'm going to try and mimic that angle. And it's good to like take up your whole page, guys. Like, do not be afraid to take up your whole page. One of the things the rule of thirds teaches us is to, you know, not draw a dead center all of your stuff. So I am drawing very, very lightly so far. So right now I am going to kind of figure out, okay, this comes this way, this meets this way, and then back here. So just like a light line of, this is where this might end on the plane. I've got, now I can get a little bit more loose with my drawings. I got a fabric foldy here, fabric foldy there. So now I need to start mapping out where things are. So I see that this brush practically touches the edge here, and I'm going to treat the top of it like, okay, that angle's not right. I'm going to treat the top of it like it's also part of the oval. I can go back in later and kind of get a better feel for what that's supposed to be. So another reason why I'm using H is it kind of forces me to draw lightly, whether I kind of want to or not. All right, and then there's that. And that kind of overlaps this shape a little bit here. A rocky shape that might very well go off my page, and that is okay. Things are allowed to go off your page, guys. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and map out that shadow. There's a rise in where that's at. And in relation to that, that is at this angle, and it goes off page. Again, it is okay that it goes off the page. And in relation to where this line is, I'm not even going to really see that knot. And at one point, this crisscrosses. Now, if you had the opportunity to do the sheets that I had put out as practice, I think my 8th grade might have gotten them. I think they were the only ones that got them for a day that I was absent. How I'm kind of handling this rope is not quite unlike how you would handle a banner or a ribbon that we did in that practice. I'm just gonna, again, draw the basic kind of shape. Oh, a little too far over of what that looks like. All right, and then from where I'm sitting, this book kind of comes up this way, and then I have the candle, which overlaps. And sits in behind the brush. So I've got most of it kind of mapped out for you. Use this as an opportunity to make sure my shadows are there, because we want to make sure we record those. And there's that little black cord that goes off the end. And obviously that book is not as, it's a little foreshortened. It's a little foreshortened. Okay, so there's my basic layout. I don't know if you can see it very well. There's my basic layout. Now, we were talking composition, overlapping, kind of mapping things out. I can tell you right now that I made this too big. Now, anything that, I'm gonna switch to my H. I'll switch to my B. Anything that is closer to you compositionally, just like atmospheric perspective, is going to be darker. And that goes with your lines too. They are heavier, they are darker. And that denotes what's closer to you, and what's further away is what stays light and what's not. This also affords you the opportunity to keep what lines you want to keep. And I'm gonna just throw those in here really quick and then move on, because I don't want to focus on one area for too long. If we get focused on one area for too long, we will have all this time spent on the details of one thing, and we will never get done with the drawing. And we want to make this simple but good, right? So this is really close to me. The lines are much darker. And I can tell you right now that there's going to be a lot more shadow going on than I probably showed, because all of this down here is automatically darker than everything going on up here except for the shadows. So that's another thing we kind of have to do. We have to pick and choose what's going to be darker, what's going to be lighter. Squint at it, kind of helps you denote what value is darker, what's not. Use your hatching and cross hatching, a stippling to kind of help add those details. You know, all of the pencil techniques that we have done in the past. I really don't like to blend with my thumb, but that's something you can do. Just trying to get the main areas covered. if I had it, I don't think I do, I would be using my chamois cloth. Chamois cloths are this wonderful leather-like cloth about the size of your hand that is really handy for blending and smearing, and it's fantastic. I love chamois cloths. They make things super duper easy when it comes to shading. So I'm going to go real dark now. There's this little shadow down here from this stuff. Yeah, okay, I just had to check and double check that you were actually able to see what I was doing. Because wouldn't it be funny if I got partway through this video and you're like, what? We can't see anything, Mr. Echo. You know what? You're right. Wasted your time, wasted my time. Don't want to do that. Now I'm looking at all of the different patterns in the fabric. Not the actual pattern, the cloth folds. Like right now, I'm not even going to focus on that detail of, oh, there's a flower here and a flower there. Like, not something I need to worry about. What I need to worry about is how I can show the still movement, if that makes sense, like the ripples in the cloth from hanging the way it hangs. How am I going to show that? Now's the time to be sketchy. Now's a really good time for you to figure out like how you can use all those drawing techniques to really punch out this drawing in a short amount of time. You should be looking back and forth frequently to check your proportions, your measurements, your shading. Like this whole brush is going to be a whole nother task because right here, there's a really dark shading shape that I missed when I was plugging in some of the shading and shadow earlier. Really dark. Not to mention like an extra line. So we know that that's closer than this stuff here because I've really decided to darken some of that. There's like highlight there. Really start accentuating some of the details while I go ahead and add some of the shading. Brush has a lot of nice go. And then with this, like, so I picked a very interesting subject matter, obviously. I picked a brush. I didn't pick something easy to draw. Why would I do that? See, like this line darker, this is darker here, but it does get lighter as it comes out. That's why if you have drawing pencils, definitely alternate. Don't keep using your HB, don't keep using your H. Change it up. You get into those shadows, when some nice dark shadows, get those bees out. They will let you know what is up. in the world of shadow. I've got some like ripply guys going on in the cloth too. That doesn't help. Okay, so how I'm going to handle this brush. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wing it, guys. It's a brush. You will get the point, right? Do my dots to be the top of this brush. And then just touch it down. And move my pencil with the brush. Well, with the direction in which they would be pointed. There's like this little cast shadow here. Making sure the top of my line gets those bristles so that it looks like it's not conformed to that oval and that they are freestanding individuals. All right, so there's my brush. This shadow's a lot lighter than the other one. Doing this demo is definitely putting me on the spot, guys. Not gonna lie. It's been a minute. Drawing from observation. Such a good practice, though. Such a good practice. Okay. Oof. So we got the brush. We've got our rope. Which distance-wise is not right. And this is why we don't bother to put too much detail in too soon. So I'm going to move him over because I'm going to try and stay true to my still life. And I bet you're like, oh, I bet you're going to erase now. I might have to. But because I didn't go too dark too fast, I can do that. And honestly, this is why I missed that chamois cloth. I can treat this as a shadow. Like I said, try not to erase, but if you have to, you have to. It is what it is. But I'm going to leave some of those lines there. All right. I feel a little bit better about that now. You guys probably don't care, but I do. It wasn't exactly where I wanted it to be. It wasn't showing me what it was supposed to show me. Okay. So now I've got a couple choices. I can move on, which I probably will, to this guy. So this is really dark. Let me grab my F. Oops, not my F. Do I have was I using 8B? 8B, nice and dark. You can't even really see how many minutes am I going on this? Oh my gosh, a half hour. Hoo-ha, if you stuck with me this long. Well, that means you're awesome. All right, so that guy, guess I'm gonna have to speed things up a little bit. Need to figure out how to do that. Fast forwardy bit. Look, my lighting's changing. Remember I told you about the natural light? That's why we use lamps, folks. All right, squinting at this as best as I can translate. Just got a little bit of shadow. Notice I did some scumbling to create the salt lamp. Some of that texture. And the shadow is creeping the whole way over here to the whole way. Let me reiterate that, bring that back in, since that was so very light. This crosses over. All right, I need this shadow to be dark, but it cannot be as dark as the wood, the bottom of my salt lamp. There's also like this little guy here too. Now, be careful not to over smudge. Once you over smudge things, it makes things look very flat. You don't want that. Come back in, add those textures, add those raw, beautiful lines to help differentiate between the 3D and the 2D. Darn. That goes off the page. Alrighty. Feeling a little bit better about that. There is some shadow here that I did not record that I should, because it doesn't just lay without the shadow. I think this shadow is going to kind of connect to this shadow. It's all very interesting. All right, so I've punched out most of this. Now we need to talk about what's going on here with the shadow in the book. And what is going on with this candle, right? So I got this candle-y guy. Again, I'm going to come back here. Need to really make these lines dark. They are the closest to me. They need to be represented. It's really bothering me that they weren't as dark as they should be. All right. This candle is super duper. Let me switch it back over. Super duper light. It is literally just a candle. Nothing special. I don't even have to get super detailed with this. It does have some pretty cool texture though, because this is the candle I keep in my bathroom, and it has absorbed moisture along the outside of the paper and has given it a very weathered look. It's actually kind of cool. And then for me blowing out the candle, it's a little on the dark side. This book further away, so I'm going to give it a little less detail. I'm not even going to go into, like, what it says or what it's really doing. There's a face on it. You can absolutely pick and choose what I'm drawing on it. Because it's in the distance, you're not really going to be able to see too much. Just kind of draw the roughness of it. Oh, that's beautiful. So there's some lovely shadowing going on here too that y'all just seen with this natural light showing up. Getting these really cool shadows from my shadow. That's pretty cool. And then so you should have like anywhere from 3 to 5 values, honestly. Like, get some really nice darks in there. Things that are super definitive, things that are super dark, get those in there. And then I can go through, and if I want to be really picky about my detail and what things are supposed to look like, I can go in my H pencil and put in painstakingly all of these texture cord wrap the whole way down and around to show that it is rope-like. Same here. I'm actually wrapping that the wrong way. My bad. This is why you keep looking and double checking what you're doing. Ew. I got a little pluggy guy back here. And the pluggy guy even has its own little shadow, which is really nice. It's the off page. So, yeah, the closer things are to you, the darker they should be. I could really, if I wanted to, go back and start adding all of the really nice patterns of the flowers on this fabric and get super attentive to that. Or I can pick and choose to do some of them and not all of them. This is your interpretation of what you see. It is by no means supposed to be perfect. You're just supposed to try and observe what you can. Stuff is going to go off the page. Notice all of my stuff is not quite centered. Yeah. Little happy little flowers, guys. I don't have happy little trees. You're just going to have to deal with happy little flowers. There's one right here. Ooh. So composition, use of light and shade, texture, all of these things. Things I'm going to be looking for. Being able to show me distance between two objects through overlapping. These are all things that you guys have done. Maybe not with your still life, but through other works of art that you've done in class this year. So don't get discouraged. Don't get all bent out of shape. Don't get nervous. Dive right in. You know, give it a whirl. I've seen a couple of really good ones. People submitted early that I don't think they're going to have to touch up anything on it for the criteria at all, which is really kind of cool because they already got it figured out. But, you know, I want you to double check if you're one of those people who got done super early. I want you to double check the criteria, look what you have, see if there's anything that you can fix, because if you rush through it, like, you're selling yourself short. You're definitely selling yourself short, because you could probably do a lot better of a job than you might have been doing. All right, so there you go. Trying to show you as best as I can without the light interfering. It's a fairly quick 40-minute sketch almost, probably even a little bit less. So thanks for hanging in there. I will have this posted on YouTube and you can watch and follow along and pause as you need. It's just a demo video. It's not meant to be the exact direction on how you do things, but keep in mind too that, you know, depending on what objects that you decide to choose, like, your still life can tell a story. You can choose objects to try and tell a story. It could be your personal one or not. Okay, well, now that I'm looking at the camera wrong again, because that's what happens when you have it sideways, thanks for tuning in.